Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm going to talk about how to enhance your training to engage and maximize the power of Frontline. Right. So, and we all know how the pandemic has really transformed, particularly how the retail business operate today. More specifically, it has changed the way employees improve their knowledge in their workplace. So if you see the key challenges which the workforce in retail faces is definitely new ways of learning. It is deskless, right? They just don't have any desk. Attrition rates are significant, and importantly, change management and transformation, right? It becomes difficult for them. And because of these, they need to be constantly uh, uh, learn or relearn, upskill themselves or reskill, and also having the right uh, means qualified trainers available at all the locations, right? In addition to that, definitely providing them on-demand training. Okay, it should be available whenever they really want. And in addition to that, I think the COVID has really made it even more complex, right? So that's where I think the training professionals, means we all know that the old methods of embedding knowledge do not work anymore, right? As a lot of external factors have now made it a significant impact on the way employees improve their knowledge. So if you having seen that, okay, what kind of challenges do frontline employees who work face? Okay, they always have, they always need to have their complete presence of mind in their workplace, right? And they have very little time for long-term trainings. Okay, they need to have the right skills to provide the best customer service, whether they're selling a product or providing a service. And they always need to remember all the key concepts, right? At the need, when they are talking to a customer, they need to remember everything about whatever they're selling or providing the service. And being the face of the organization, they carry bigger responsibilities and they are always on constant pressure, right? And definitely their education levels varies and personal background varies. Irrespective of that, they have to put the best face in front of the customer when they come in, and there are definitely livelihood challenges. Having seen this, so what should actually the frontline training should focus on? All right, it is definitely the training should be on performing tasks efficiently and effectively. Right? They need to get their act first time, right way, and always it has to be the same. And embracing changes and be part of transformation is so critical for them. And good understanding of the products they sell or the service they provide is critical. And definitely personal grooming, hygiene, soft skills, communication skills, body language go without saying. They're all integral part of that. And importantly, being able to understand their own weaknesses, they need to work on that. They need to be in touch with others to develop themselves. So more importantly, be self-aware. So having seen that, I think as employees now have to manage all these new events, situations, which has never arisen before, right? Employees need to be clued up to all the latest updates, be it on the product knowledge, the compliance, handling customers, processes, or best practices. Today, they literally have to do everything behind a mask, right? It becomes that much even more challenging, all right? And training once a month or a quarter just don't work anymore, right? Ideally, employees need to be trained daily. And it's easy to say, but getting employees to learn daily is one of the toughest challenges, right? So, and for generations, the way employees have been trained is using traditional methods of formal training, right? In the recent past, I think we all have realized that learners are not learning much through formal sessions. Okay. However, we do need them to learn. So we roll out programs one after another, only to find that employees are not showing interest in the sessions at all. Okay, because that brings in a lot of challenges. So I suppose this is a question a lot of you would have faced, right? People will question, why they have to attend a training session, right? Because the employees mostly desist at training purely because it interrupts their daily work, right? And they also, maybe you may get complaints that it is lack of time, maybe to attend overly long sessions. So considering that these days, definitely employees are not keen to take time out of their regular tasks because they work in various environments, in shifts, and attend sessions that may not add too much value to the time that they may spend. So maybe if you take a typical program, what happens, right? Be it onboarding or product training, customer service, or any other skills, including compliance, right? Typically what we use a classroom training. It could be a virtual program today. It is e-learning. But, okay, and our expectation is that, okay, learner remembers everything and they apply what they have learned on a regular basis, because that's where the big question is, learners are definitely unable to apply on the job. And why do we keep, or maybe you have to assess as to what do we keep missing, okay, in our training program, so that they are able to apply on a continuous basis. I suppose this is also a very familiar question, right? People say that they can't remember. They went through program, okay, everything was fantastic, but they are unable to remember. And we also debate and introspect as to why is it so. That's that's because learners tend to forget what they learned within a week, if not days, right, of attending a program. So that's where I think you're all familiar with this curve, okay, where research suggests that people tend to forget what they learned within a week, if not days of attending a session. And this is called forgetting curve. We're all familiar with that. So if training programs are not able to achieve the intended outcome, then what should businesses or L&D teams do? How do we solve this problem? I think this is what we'll explore today as we go along. Okay, that's the essence of this masterclass. So if you look at this graphic carefully, okay, there are additional aspects and dimensions that we need to focus and act on, which is important, wherein we help learners practice on the job to build competency, and more importantly, help the learners improve continuously to master the topic, because that continuous improvement is very, very important. So how can this be done, right? And the answer is simple. It's reinforcement. Okay, it is very important that reinforcement should be part of our training programs to reiterate and help learners recall by continuous or periodic reinforcement measures, because this is very important. And this will be possible only if our focus is on helping learners have continuous learning experiences. And all our training programs are drawn up for this long-term sustenance. And it should never be no program should be for short-term planning. So how do we combat forgetting curve, right? As you can see in this graphic, right, there are periodic reinforcements. Okay, there's a big research about this, and then on forgetting curve, I think some of you are familiar already with this. So wherein these periodic reinforcements or continuous learning journeys through regular interventions, all right, using various means, help and using what the smaller learning nuggets help bridge that gap created by forgetting curve. And traditionally, we all have done this, right, by printing job aids or handing over or hanging them in the work areas, and it has worked. But today, as we are entering the digital world, it's a slightly different ball game. And today, I mean, today, as we know, learners need to learn a lot to keep pace with the competition, right? And traditional reinforcement methods may not be sufficient. So being digitally savvy, once the modern learners want the learning to be available literally at their convenience, be at the workplace or outside, whether they're commuting to and fro to the workplace, be it in the field waiting for a customer, it could be between some customer calls. Learning has to be literally made available to them at the fingertips, right? So how are typical learning programs rolled out? Just to take a couple of maybe an example, if you look at an induction program, okay, what happens? Okay, typically an induction program will be a combination of classroom, virtual training, e-learning, anywhere between 2 to 7 days. Some organizations may have even more. Okay, and then post a standard induction program, they're handed over reading material, and the expectation definitely is, right, the learner should remember everything, right, and remember everything continuously, because that's where those are the things that we need to work on. And if you see even your people manager programs, right, what happens is once we provide them training, okay, using the typical standard methods, and we expect them that they will go and start managing people efficiently immediately after the training. Okay, and that's where the big question mark is. The learner is confused, and they're confused as to what should they focus on. Should they know about the company, the process, or the job, or the compliance aspects, or when it's part after the induction? For people managers, we also should debate, is he or she ready immediately after the training program to manage people, right? And as we noted earlier, after a week or so, all the learners tend to forget majority of the training. But the expectation is that they will continue to remember and perform efficiently. And that's where the mismatch happens, right? Expectation versus delivery. So how do we equip the learner, right? To address this challenge, I think we, part of HR and L&D, must get onto the driver's seat, right? And equip learners with the required ammunition on a continuous basis, because this is very, very, very critical. So what is needed is reinforcement of any learning concept on a continuous basis without being, definitely it should not be boring or too long. And the important is, the idea is to reinforce the information in smaller bites or using microlearning will help learners recall the training so that they are able to apply on the job and ensure training programs are a success. Just in case, okay, if you heard microlearning for the first time, okay, it is a very popular method of training delivery. It is nothing but just delivering a training program designed in small pieces of focused, what I say, right size content to enable learners to accomplish a specific learning outcome. Because the microlearning should not be just, I take a large course, chop it to 10 pieces or 5 pieces and deliver it. It is not. There is a big science behind delivering effective microlearning. That's something has to be focused on. So, so in addition to the improving engagement, because our focus also has to be, how do we equip our frontline employees using maybe action-based learning. Okay, it could be where tasks to be carried out by them linked to the outcomes, because that is very important. And they would not require theories or histories. Okay, that's something which is not to be. Instead, they would definitely require nuggets that focus on the task that they need to perform, aligned to their daily work. Okay, this is very important. And it has to be smartly structured so that they can seek guidance as and when they need. And also importantly, helping employees just when they really need the support. And this is where microlearning can be very handy to make the learning experiences very effective. So also plan to deliver reinforcement on the training through small nuggets to your learners over a period of time on a continuous basis. This has to be the plan always. And we have seen that this has really proved to be a success for several organizations globally, because that's one of the reasons continuous learning and working in the flow of work has become so popular today. And it's so relevant in the retail space for us to adapt and implement. So how do we build continuous learning journey? What could be the strategies? Okay, so what is important is we need to re-architect what learning in the retail world means today, right? We need to align your existing ecosystem, okay, learning ecosystem, or adapt a new system to provide easy access on how your learners consume content, because this is very important. And most importantly, promote continuous learning that aligns to everyday work of your people, or popularly known as learning in the flow of work, right? And it has to be mobile first strategy. If the moment it is mobile first, it has to be bite size or microlearning formats. Encourage collaboration, knowledge sharing, peer feedback, mentoring has to be part of the overall strategy. And any gap that you find while they're learning, you should be able to fill those gaps, because this is so critical today that people learn, they forget, or when they are rolled out a program, they are unable to recall, right? People come with different educational backgrounds. Not everyone's memory is strong, but maybe people need more guidance and assistance. So importantly, it should meet immediate, intermediate, or transitional learning needs, depending on where and what, whom you're training. So the training has to be adapted to them. And another important thing is you have to ensure that you provide them the content which is required by them so that it will help them to do. So that's where curation makes a very, very strong impact. And it has to be spaced learning, or you need to provide them training material over a period of time, or help them to boost the memory for long-term recall. This is so, so important. And the last important strategy, definitely it has to be, there should be minimum disruption of work so that it drives maximum productivity, right? So having seen this, because one important thing is definitely when providing learning, it is imperative that it has to be easily accessible by the learner and runs on literally any device available to the learner at their fingertips. The content that you design has to be mobile first, okay, and so that they can access it anytime, anywhere. It has to be microlearning, okay, it has to be short and to the point. And importantly, it means as part of your HR and L&D, your trainers should be able to create the courses swiftly. They should not be taking too much time. Okay, you create the courses, deliver it so that learners can consume. And as we all know, this is all, I mean, mobile learning today is an ideal lifelong learning methodology now. And it is so important for the future of your deskless employees, right? They don't have a desk. So mobile is the best way to reach out to them, train, retrain. Okay, it becomes so important. And for faster and easier alignment to delivering this continuous learning journey and ensuring easy accessibility of required and curated content, right? You should understand how learners consume the content and drive required content to them in the most easiest formats, okay? And you can accomplish this definitely using aligning with your existing ecosystem, such as your LMS, LXP, or any other plat system. Or if there are constraints, you should not even hesitate to adopt a new system or a new age learning platforms. There are plenty, like Credo is one, to drive continuous learning journey. And if you so delivering continuous learning journeys, right, in the flow of work is going to be even more critical today, right? And than it has been before. So it could be not only from the industry point of view, but also in the skills like customer service, it could be products, it could be merchandising, it could be sales skills, it could be company ethics, compliance, and most importantly, digital skills, right? Today, they need to be digital savvy, considering all the changes that has when not everything happens today in retail stores, but a lot of things are happening with online sales and other aspects. So they all become very, very critical and important. So how do we build a continuous learning journey? Because this is important for us to also understand. So it is definitely using microlearning. Okay, from our experience, we have seen that microlearning strategies implemented well for our customers are really working very, very well. And numerous studies do reiterate the same globally, because that's how things have been working really well. And microlearning is easy. It can be implemented before a formal training. It could be after a formal training, anytime during the week, as long as it is set at a set periodicity, so there's predictability for the learner, and wherever required, it should be at the moment of need. Okay, it could be like sales page. Somebody is visiting a customer, they want to just brush up some product skills, product knowledge, and they should be able to access that and take. So as we have understood, microlearning is so important. So what are the types of microlearning interventions that you can create, which can supplement your main training program and also help learners apply the learning on the job? So it could be a learning nugget, all right? All these nuggets could be bite size, addressing one learning object at a time. And there can be multiple learning nuggets. So to build a competency, right? It could be 3 to 4 or even up to 10 learning nuggets to build a certain mastery level for the user. Okay, it can be a learning activity, right? You can trigger an activity for the learner so that they go through or come back. Maybe it could be an assignment. So it could be various means which will help learners to engage on a continuous basis. So automatically these activities help. It could be videos. This is something that I think most of you already must be using. And definitely questions is another way as to how you can trigger interest and help them to improve their knowledge. Okay, and I mean, I'm sure definitely your retail employees will love any training which has a gamification or a game-based activities right built in that. So that's something that has to be there. And definitely any job aids, it could be on for any formats. Okay, they still maybe sometimes look like traditional, but they do work. Sometimes they do really wonders, right? So as the learners' attention spans continue to shrink, right? What we need to continue to, or we should continue our hunt for better strategies. And that's where microlearning is the one that really stands out as an excellent way to ensure our objectives to equip them are achieved. And with a good planning, we can ensure training programs deliver continuous learning experiences to equip your learners so that they are able to build their skills, excel in their jobs. Automatically, it will have a positive impact at the business. So having said that, okay, how can we ensure this? We did talk about induction people manager programs, right? So for induction programs, okay, I mean, we can use microlearning strategies to reinforce all the key aspects that they have learned initially in those 1 week or so, and spread that across 3 to 4 months and help your inductees to embrace all aspects and so that they can follow, implement them on the job. And so is your people managers, all right? So that you could be a people managers with maybe small micro studies or case studies or scenario-based practice sessions, right? It has to be spread over. I think I definitely feel it should be 4 to 6 months to challenge them and help them practice handling tough situations. Okay, that's when they become great people managers. And always follow-up sessions are required to ensure that depending on performance of each individual, that can be spread even further. So to address the forgetting curve, our learning programs must have what is this continuous reinforcement measures for a long-term retention, and this could be in the format of well-spaced learning interventions at regular intervals, because this is important. It has to be spread across so that the learner, there's not too much of cognitive load, but still they consume the way it helps them. And most importantly, use memory boosters or aspects which will help them assist your learners to recall the larger learning programs, right? So when we talk about memory boosters, I think I always quote a classic example. All right. So when, say, the moment you see Titanic, right, this poster, right? So there are various things that come into your mind, and it could be the two lead actors. It could be they're standing at the edge of the ship. It could be the sinking of the ship. Just 4 images literally brought majority of your recall of the Titanic movie. So we always, when we work with customers, we always say, can we create Titanic moments for your program so that it helps people to recall so that they are able to apply it on the job. So this is something which is, we always work with customers to make it happen. And that easy, right? That's something if you are able to implement, it will automatically create better uh, learning culture across the organization. So other important aspects definitely is collaboration, peer feedback, is definitely the tools, technologies that you use should encourage collaboration, and it should provide the peer engagement, which is very critical to drive continuous engagement and learning, so that people are able to means collaborate and improve uh, themselves, right? And it could be the examples could be learners say need more information about you rolled out a program, or it could be a learning event, but the system should be able to help them request anyone for assistance or seek guidance for enhancing their skills. It could be sometimes some people may be hesitant to go to their managers, right? You will face such situations, right? Not everyone will be so easy to go to the leads or managers to ask for help, so that they need to build their skills. So technology should today does help these things. So, or it could be if a manager or a team lead wants to provide a feedback or guide or assess through some assignments, okay, the system should have a provision for all those aspects, because these are things that will automatically uh, embrace more collaboration. So, and maybe some tips and best practices, okay, it could be to train frontline. What is very important is creating task-oriented training, meaning literally there should be no fluff or extra information that is not required by the frontline. This is very, very important. And focusing on reinforcement and remediation, so that they have build mastery over a period of time. This is also very critical. But developing short quizzes and using games can be very effective to reinforce key concepts and help frontline to memorize the task better. And definitely we have use videos wherever possible to reinforce key messages. So how do we deliver this continuous learning experiences? Because that is where the next challenge is, right? So, and definitely you should you should ensure that you work with your technology team to make that happen. So use your existing LMS, or should be able to embrace any new age learning platforms such as Credo, wherein when you build these new programs or use your existing programs, okay, you have to enhance your existing programs. Consider providing this continuous reinforcements using microlearning approaches. It could be before or after a training program. It should be for easy consumption. You should be able to build them very quickly with a focus of real-time applications. This is very, very critical. And always the program has to be sustained for a specified period. Only then you'll be able to help learners to build the mastery on the skills that they need to possess, and definitely ensure it is available on any device, because this is so important, right? So having seen the challenges, what strategies and what is required to mitigate the challenges, and how we can deliver, because any system should be able to have all the skills which I mentioned. And having seen that, because maybe I have a small, as we have access to Credo, I could just show as to what Credo can do, or any system similar to this should be doing, because that is important, right? Credo, in this case, okay, it provides beautiful learning journeys to be created so that it aligns to your existing strategy. It could be an existing ecosystem, okay, wherein you should be able to create courses. It could be learning paths or pathways, today it's all virtual meetings, so you should be able to do, and everything has to be done very, very swiftly. You should be able to create assignments, it could be surveys, it could be share videos, share documents, all right, so that people uh, can consume it as they want, and everything has to be unified. So this is so critical and important. So in this case, Credo do offer very, very easy to use templates to create some really beautiful courses, which has varied interactivities, gamification. You can add video, audio, you can conduct video programs right there, create interesting questions. And most importantly, you should be able to remediate, because when you say remediation, it's easy than said and done. It should be an automated system. There should be memory boosters, which gets triggered automatically, because otherwise you run a program today, you should not be thinking what should I be doing. I should have clarity right now so that I'm able to plan and roll it out and forget. The system should be able to take care. That's where automated systems do play a vital role. And considering India, okay, we need to train people in their local languages. So the translation process also has to be very, very seamless. So that's something which is very important and critical. And of course, analytics helps in analyzing, right, and drive future initiatives. It has to be seamless. And most importantly, any system should help your trainers and in the focus build more competent team members in addition to their training delivery. Their focus should not be only to training delivery, should be helping, okay, once you digitize the content, once you have that in front, your focus always has to be, how do I enrich the skill? How do I take them to the next level? So, and some examples just to show you, this is just a quick one as to what Credo can do, just to show you different screen types as to how it can be done, or how it has been used. So, and remediation, because when I say automated system, because you can see there's an activity for the learner. If they go wrong, it will literally take them to the screen that they should be learning and brings them back so that they perform. So that is where the moment there is a gap in the learning based on challenges that you can assess, you should be able to fill that gap, because that is very, very critical. And spaced learning or memory boosters should be able to, that's what we talked about, Titanic moments, right? How do you create Titanic moments? How do you make those happen? So that becomes very, very important here. So that's something which Credo can do. And collaboration, which we talked about, social learning, peer feedbacks should be seamless. Okay, so that's something that you should be able to do. So having seen that, I'm literally coming to the last section, which is talking about case studies as to how exactly we have done for our customers. So the first case study is for a car retail sales company based out of North America, having close to 7,000 people. We converted their entire customer experience guide into 69 microlearning modules. And importantly, we had a lot of additional curated content which was supporting that. Okay, we did not bring in everything into the mainstream learning, but wherever learners need more, they could literally lean on the curated content. And it was mobile enabled through the mobile app, so they could access it literally anytime, anywhere. And the best part was when this strategy was implemented, they compared about the previous strategy. And what was really interesting was to hear from the customer, where they said that the platform engagement literally has gone up to 89%. Most importantly, because as they are in the after sales and support also, their escalations dropped drastically, because this customer experience guide had all those aspects covered. And that itself was a big saving for the organization. And other case study for a large insurance company, close to 30,000 people. We had a huge program which we converted into close to 130 microlearning courses, but we had lots of videos, PDFs, and gamification interventions to engage the learners. And again, it was delivered on mobile and other. This was really heartening, though they tried their best, because most of the times these people are on the field, right? The max they could achieve was 73% of course completion rates. But importantly, there was a big change which did happen. Customer said that their sales increased. That's what the sales team told. So we took a little bit credit for that. Okay, just because of our strategy, it did help. So we used that as part of our case study. So that's something, a couple of case studies which I thought sharing. So to conclude, definitely, as we noted, microlearning is a great learning strategy, and you should embrace so that you can equip your frontline staff better. And important is using the right tools and platforms to create and deliver training faster, access on mobile devices, remediation, driving continuous learning through memory boosters and evaluating them effectively becomes so critical, right? Above all, I'm sure if you start implementing such things, you should start seeing more cheerful faces to learn and upskill themselves, right? So having said that, I think Hugo, I'm just coming to the last phase of my session. If there's any questions, I would be more than happy to take. And if anybody wants to reach to us, I think these are some of my contact details. We are also in the booth. You do visit us. We have been winning loads of international recognitions, be it Brandon All and others, for all the solutions that we have provided. So, and if you want to learn more about Credo, there's a video running on the in our booth. You can review or you can send it, contact us, and we can reach out to you.